So today we have Toby Acton from Pole Precision Solutions Limited. Nature of the business is businessy stuff and motivationally stuff. Normally, Precision Company is normally in the spare room upstairs, but we're located in Hyonga and pretty much anywhere that he is wanted. So a few things about Toby. A bad experience with food. And I've got to say these right now. So you ate Mopane? Mopane worms in Zimbabwe and ended up spending 2 days in intensive care and another full week in hospital. Wow. No one don't eat worms. Something you admire in others is the ability to write funny things in their EBF bio. A prized possession was his blue pizza badge, but he's lost it. So he's going to slay his rubber duck collection. Dish you can cook well is not a lot, and something we all should avoid is Toby's cooking. So put your hands together, Toby Acton.
I've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to talk to you faster than normal. I'm going to talk about my business today, so that's the last time you'll see Matt's lovely logo. What I'm actually going to talk about is my family. As you know, my family has stepson, daughter-in-law, 2 grandsons, are now 5 and 7. They live in Dubai. But I'm not just going to talk about my immediate family. I want to talk about my extended family. So that's the immediate family. That is my extended family. And as I said, they live in Dubai. This is us going to Dubai, and they're coming back from Dubai. But I'm actually going to be talking more about some of you know I had a trip around Ireland last year, partly to scatter my sister's ashes, but also to research a bit about family history, get to our old family estate at Wicklow. So this was us on the way to Ireland on the ferry, and this was us coming back from Ireland on the ferry. So there's been Actons in Shropshire recorded since the 14th century, and Thomas Acton Longlaw built a fortified manor house at Aldenham Park, and then it was later rebuilt in the 17th century to that house there. And that is the house today. It's now a wedding venue. We also had Acton Scott Hall, which is still standing. There's lots of places in Shropshire that bear the Acton name, villages and hamlets that have the Acton name. So we obviously own quite a lot of it. This was the Acton coat of arms, and that's an extract from our family tree there. So I just want to go through very quickly a little bit of my family tree. So this was my great, 10 times great grandfather, Sir Edward Acton. He was the first baronet of Scott Hall in Aldenham Hall, and he was High Sheriff of Shropshire, and he was also MP for Rich North. He had a son, but then he had another son, who obviously didn't inherit Aldenham Hall. So the second son, he was actually sent over to Ireland by Oliver Cromwell to help to crush the Catholic rebellion. So sorry to any Catholics in the room. Sorry. So yeah, it was part of what became the Protestant ascendancy, where the aim was to get a majority Protestant landowners and in terms of legal power and political power. So that was the aim. And yeah, it worked. So yeah, sorry. And he was rewarded for his efforts with a 1,300 acre estate in Kilmacarrot, Wicklow, and which was then expanded through marriage to other local landowners' daughters to 5,000 acres that we owned. So he had a son called Thomas, who we don't know anything about other than the fact that he died, and he had another son. And he had a son called Thomas. Lots of, they weren't very imaginative. Thomas. And he again married into the local gentry, if you like. And he built the original central portion of Kilmacarrot House, which we went to visit in May last year. He then had a son, and they got invented now, called this one William. He was Keeper of Writs of the Court of Common Pleas in Ireland and the Sergeant of the Coit, whatever that is. And there were loads of other uncles and aunts and brothers and sisters, but I've just kept this for the sake of brevity to the immediate family line. Then they went back to the Thomas name again. So his son was Thomas, Barrister at Law, High Sheriff of County Wicklow. And then for another Thomas, then we went on to William. He was Justice of the Peace. He was in the Wicklow militia and another MP in the family. He inherited Kilmacarrot House, and he added 2 wings on the wing, so it began to look like that. Not sure the date of that photo. That one, I think a bit later. So the wings were added on in 18 something, 45, I think, and that was obviously a bit later. And then we came to Colonel Charles Ball Acton. For some reason, he changed his name by default. He was the 3rd son of Lieutenant Colonel William, and so he didn't inherit. So he went back to Shropshire with his brothers, his younger brothers, and he was educated at rugby and Cheltenham. And he and his brothers, Thomas and William, introduced the game of rugby to Cheltenham College. In actual fact, and this, I only found this out last week, and I got this picture through from the deputy head of Cheltenham College just yesterday, and I'm not sure if you can read it there. It basically says, near this place, rugby football was first played at Cheltenham College, brought here from Schoolhouse Rugby by the brothers Acton. So they brought the rules of rugby to Cheltenham. Not only did they bring the rules, they actually modified the rules. The original rules of rugby was that there was no points for a try. It was just the opportunity to try for a goal, and you could then convert it into a goal. They introduced the concept of having at that time 1 point, where it was called a rouge for some reason. 1 point for a try, and then it's 3 points for a conversion. And the first inter-school rugby football match was played between Rugby and Cheltenham. Cheltenham won. And then the Cheltenham rules, as they were called, were adopted by the Rugby Football Union in 1887. So I thought it was really interesting to find out about that. So he was went into the army. He was in the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry. He had a son, Charles, who also educated at rugby. He inherited Kilmacurra from his uncle. So his uncle died without any children. So family line moved back to Ireland. He was a justice of the peace. He was again in the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. He travelled extensively in the army, and he started bringing back. He had an interest in botany. He started bringing back exotic plants to Kilmacurra, and he started building a planting botanical gardens there with his sister Jane. He was sadly killed in action on the Western Front in 1915. So the estate passed to his brother, who continues with the planting botanical gardens, but he was sadly killed just a year later at the Battle of Ypres. And so 2 lots of death duties, as Howard would tell you, in a short period of time, basically crippled the estate financially. So that his son, who was my great uncle, inherited the estate, which was crippled financially, and he had to sell it in 1944. He leased it for a while, and then he sold it. He was only 2 years old when he inherited it. He went on to become quite famous in Ireland. He was the music critic of the Irish Times, had lots of quite prestigious positions. He died just in 1999. Like I said, he was my great uncle. So Kilmacurra House, not as it is today. This is Kilmacurra House today. A little bit of a mess. There was a fire in 1976 and a subsequent fire during repair work in 1978, and it's all a bit of a mess now. It is going to be renovated over the next few years. There's funds for it, but that's me and my dad outside the house last May. But what there's also the Acton Cafe within the grounds. So you can see on the shirt that Acton Cafe. So a little bit of infamy there. And in the grounds, like I said, we have the botanical gardens. They're now part of the botanical gardens of Ireland. Now no longer 5,000 acres, just 58 acres, unfortunately. And this rhododendron tunnel apparently is world famous. People love to go there for weddings. They have their wedding photos taken there. So, meanwhile, back in Shropshire, going back in time again, my 10 times great grandfather, not only was he MP for Bridgnorth, but his sons, so the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th baronets, also became MP for Bridgnorth, a bit of a family business. The 5th baronet, he married into French nobility and he moved to France. And then the 6th baronet, he was in the service of the King of Naples. He actually became Prime Minister of Naples and Minister for Marine and War. Loads of awards and laws will sort of gloss over the fact that with papal permission he married his 13-year-old niece. very quickly done. Other than that, he was usually quite a respected guy. The 7th Baronet, again in the Italian Navy, he married into German royalty and took the name Dolberg as well. Now, this is the one that I really love. The 8th Baronet also became the first Baron Acton. I think we're now on the 9th Baron Acton, so this is the family line. Marquis of Gallipoli, MP, again MP for Bridge North, took that one back. Knighted by Queen Victoria, all sorts of things, lots of elite positions. He was my 9th cousin 4 times removed. And some of you may know him as Lord Acton, who said, power tends to corrupt and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Does anybody know that? So that was my 9th cousin 4 times removed. So very nearly done, because then that just brings us up to date with this bloke. These are all my accreditations, not quite as lofty. I've reached as far as chairman of High Army Parish Council, but no power, no corruption, no family fortune either. So there you go. That's me. It's a year's worth of research there. Jane.
Well, I was so hoping he was going to end up with you announcing your baronet.
Unfortunately not.
Right, so I didn't have a chance to look at the Sergeant of the what we call COI.
Yeah.
It's a historical order of legal professions. However, it's pronounced qua.
What?
And it comes from the word parfum.
Oh, okay.
And it refers to a white hat, but it is from a French derivation.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
But thank you for that.
Thank you.
So who owns the house now, and who's going to?
It's now owned by Botanical Gardens, and funds are being raised to do it up. It's a group on first, and we've actually offered to go and help and sort of do a bit of volunteer that.
So you're Irish?
So yes, yeah, I own an Irish passport. It's income.
They're quite handy, aren't they?
So, oh yeah, very useful, especially when you get your wife through to wherever in Europe and you just skip all the lines.
No, but I normally then end up having to go and get bags. You know,
Yeah, exactly. It's also useful like travelling with my Irish passport in the Middle East because I'm the little leprechaun. My wife is British and Jewish. So take care.
Apparently, we voted the most powerful passport now in the world.
Indeed. Yes.
Oh, the Irish.
Yeah, right.
Good question. Matt and Toby, are you looking for a husband? I do have an Irish passport.
I can marry one of my daughters.
Given the raising of the Supreme Court yesterday about transgender, probably we may something.
Yeah.
Paul, can you help with that? Toby, thank you very much indeed for that excursion through your past.
Actually, thanks for the action. That encouraged me to do that instead of doing something boring and businessy.
Like the